I have no idea how this is gonna sound, like audio-wise. And I don't really care. So you're gonna have to deal with it. So it's been a long time since I made a video. And also since I've like done anything actually to like prove that I'm like alive and not like dead or anything. I posted on Instagram the other day because I was like, maybe this will give people a hint that I'm like okay and fine. But like besides that, like I've kind of like completely ditched my Snapchat, which is like, I probably shouldn't have done that considering that that's like the last thing tying me to my friends from school. So I should probably like use that again. But I was like, I have nothing to say because I've only been working full time because I got a full-time big girl job. And it's draining. It's a little bit draining, I'll be honest. But I didn't want to just talk about that today. I wanted to like actually like do a little catch up, and like life update and like talk about fun things that like make me happy instead of, you know, things that make me miserable. But I guess I'll get it out of the way first. But yes, I work full time. I have a full-time big girl job. Not gonna go into details because I don't want to, and also I'm not putting that out there. But essentially I work at a residential treatment program, and my job is essentially to make sure that the kids don't hurt themselves or others. That's all I have to say. That's all I'm going to say. But yes, it's very draining and triggering, and I spend most days crying on my ride home. So I've reached out to a counselor. She has not emailed me back. But yeah, no, I'm getting it like handled. But like for the first like 2 weeks that I had my job, I was literally like, what if I quit? And what if I just quit? What if I just quit? So yeah, I've been like dealing with that. That was like a huge thing. And then it finally just like clicked in me, like, oh, when the teachers were talking about self-care and preventing burnout and compassion fatigue, this is what they were talking about. I was like, oh, okay. So then I made myself a little self-care plan, and it like actually worked. I was like, wait a minute, you mean the education I paid for is actually paying off? And it is, because this is gonna sound bad, but I am kind of thinking that I'm one of the only competent new employees that they hired, because half the employees don't show up on time, or on their phones, or sleeping, or violating HIPAA by taking selfies in the bathroom. So anyways, won't get too much into it because it'll actually piss me off and I'll start screaming. But yeah, I'm doing fine now at work. I'm like an actually good employee. It's just, it's very draining for me, and I cannot talk about work outside of work because it will consume me. That's what we learned. That's the grand lesson. After 2 weeks of hell, I finally realized maybe I should stop talking about work and thinking about work and letting work consume me and control my life. But that was kind of like, I don't know, I hate to say it because it makes me sound like there's gonna be some like old boomer who's like, welcome to the real world. But like the realization that like after college, your life is literally just working until you can retire. Devastating. I was devastated. I keep saying it, and I keep telling Meg, I'm like, what if we just quit? What if we just quit? I don't want to work any job that requires me to like become stressed out. I want to work a simple entry-level job, minimum wage, clock in, clock out. I'd even work part-time. I think I could live off of working part-time if I live with my parents and never move out. But I'm like, listen, as much as I like having like a big girl paycheck and having like kind of disposable money, what if I just did the bare minimum job and got paid enough money so that I could like get takeout food? That's it. So then I could go home and watch my silly YouTube videos and go on Twitter and do fucking nothing all day. What if I only worked 4 days a week? Like, I don't know. I just kind of realized, I was like, I kind of crave my unemployment era. I kind of miss being unemployed. That like 4 weeks after my internship, when I was like fully graduated, was in the process of being hired, like I was still in the interview stage and stuff like that, I was like, what if I go back to that? What if I put my 2 weeks in now and go back to being unemployed? I don't know. I miss it. I miss it sometimes. I miss waking up and not having like anything to do and being like, I guess at 9 o'clock I can get up and like eat breakfast. And then like, I guess I'll just like be on my laptop, like in my Google Docs, writing my silly stories. And then, I don't know, put a video on in the background, watching like Curtis Connor and just sitting there writing. And then maybe around 1, I'll take a walk or something. And then, I don't know, like just having the whole day where I just don't have any plans. So I just fall into my own routine of doing silly things. And then like me having to realize now that I can't do that. And that like, even on my days off, I have shit that I need to catch up on. Like I'm doing laundry right now. My room needs to be fucking vacuumed. There's dog hair everywhere. I have been saying for the past like 5 months, oh, well, Layla's just shedding. She's shedding her whatever coat. I am fully believe that every single season is shedding season for her because it doesn't stop. But her hair is literally fucking everywhere. So I need to, it's on the bottom of my sock right now on my bed and it's freaking me out because I'm gonna get dog hair all over my bed again and I just washed my sheets. But yeah, I miss being unemployed. I miss being unemployed. I miss not working. But I like having the money, I guess, I suppose. But yeah, that's it. That's all I'm gonna, that's the last thing I say about my job. Not, like if you, like I'll talk about it like in person, but like, no, I don't want to make a big deal out of it because it's gonna like piss me off and it's gonna, I'm gonna spiral again and be like, I should just quit. I should just quit. One thing goes wrong at my job and the first thing I do is go into the bathroom and stare in the mirror and go, I don't need this. I don't need this. I should just quit. I should just quit right now. But if I acted like that every single time something went wrong in my life, I wouldn't have graduated. So nobody laugh, but Mercury was in retrograde recently or something. And I think that's why, but I had this sudden like nostalgia for being in college where I knew I was gonna miss it because I'm like crazy sentimental about really dumb shit. But like, I'm telling you, I was literally like, I need to go back to that school. I need to go back to that school. It happened in like late July where like I was literally like, I need to go back. I need to go back. I need to go back to living in a dorm. I need to go back to eating the shitty food, like prepackaged food. I need to go back to just dicking off on my laptop in the library pretending to work when I was really just getting a Starbucks drink. Like I was like, I need to go back to that lifestyle. I need to be back on that campus. Oh, I was literally like in tears being like, I need to move back. I was like, I need to go back. And also it's because Josh just moved out. So like, oh yeah, my other brother, he's in college. Yay. Everyone's like, congratulations, Josh. But like, I was literally like, I need to go back to that. I need to go back to like that weird like gray area where it's like, you should be working and you should be finding a job, but also you're a student. Oh, and they want experience. Oh, but I'm just a student right now, so I don't have any experience. Oh, I don't have my degree yet. I'm sorry. So it's like you kind of get away with like just doing like wishy-washy part-time shit. Like I miss doing my part-time call center job, which I thought I'd never say, but I was like, I miss working for 4 hours one night a week. I do. I miss it a little bit. I do. Yeah, I was like, I miss doing stupid shit. I miss coming home at like 1 a.m. and just like going straight into my nice warm bed without taking my makeup off and then waking up in the morning and being like, time for my morning walk with my eyes all crusty. It was kind of fun. I don't know, guys. And it went by really fast and that like scared the shit out of me because everyone was like, oh, it'll go by really fast. And then it went by really fast and I was like, guys, did anyone notice how fast that went by? But it did. It zoomed by. Even though I was in hell for like half of college because of a bunch of like external family problems, it was still fun. I was miserable for some of it, but like it was still fun. I was still having kind of a good time. And just I don't know, the attitude of being in college. I don't want to make this like a gender thing because it can apply to anybody probably, but if you're a girl, you kind of get it. when I was 17, I was like fucking miserable and like didn't want to live and didn't think I'd lived. Didn't think I'd live past 18. That sounds really dark, but I'm being serious. I was like miserable and I was like serious about everything. And then I got to college and I was like, it's time to be silly. And then the pandemic happened too, and I think that also kind of changed the way I saw things, where I was like, this literally doesn't matter in the long run. This doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore. The world is over. It's fucking Jover, guys. It doesn't matter what I do with my time. So I just, like, I don't know. In college, I kind of just realized that doing things that make me happy is more important than, like, doing things that I think I should be doing. And now I kind of feel that in, like, extreme modes, where now whenever I'm slightly uncomfortable, I'm like, I don't need this. I can just quit right now. Let me go back to doing things that make me happy. So it's like, I don't know, I'm kind of wrestling with that, like, stubbornness of, like, you're not a college girl anymore. Sorry, you can't just quit when you don't feel like it. You can't just drop a class. You have to actually, like, work to make money, which is terrible. I know. God, who knew? It's almost like all those old people I talked to on the phone that was telling me that, you know, well, the real world is different. It's nothing like college. It's almost like they were right. Who would have thought? So it's like, that's my mind process now, is I'm like, I'm just a 22-year-old teenage girl and you guys are making me go to this big girl job where I get screamed at and traumatized every day, and you're making me act like an adult and, you know, be the adult in the room and stuff like that. Come on, I don't want to do that. Give me a silly office job where I don't have to do anything like that. I don't need to interact with anybody. I get to answer a few emails, maybe sit and scroll on Pinterest. Like, I envied that. I do. At one point, like, I kind of was like, I need a boring job. I need a boring office girly job. I will be a secretary. And then I remember that last summer, I worked at a summer camp in the office and I fucking hated it, and it made me actually want to die. I was like, I can't take it anymore. I cannot sit for 8 hours a day in the same spot, confined to a cold, air-conditioned room. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. So then I remember that, and I'm like, maybe not too much. But one of the positives about starting my new job is that I have time to read now. Just like in between my shift when I'm like not doing anything actively. So I finished 3 books this summer. Oh my god, for somebody who hasn't read in like read for pleasure in years, like, I'm telling you, years. I think I stopped reading for pleasure in high school. Like, I was like, I don't fucking care. So I started reading again and I finished 3 books. And I have lots of thoughts. So first of all, I got this book specifically for the purpose of me being like, oh, this would be a fun summer read. I got it in my unemployment era and I intended to read it when I was unemployed, and then I didn't. And then I tried to read it at work and that made it 10 times worse, because this is not a book that you can like half pay attention to. I got this giant fucking book called The Ship of Theseus. This is just like the cover. I think I don't know if you've heard me talk about it before, but it's this book that's supposed to be like a 2-in-1 book. It's kind of like a mystery book, where these 2 college students rent out this book and they communicate with each other through the margins of the pages and stuff like that. I'm trying to show it without like making everything spill out, because guess what? There's fucking like inserts in here, like postcards and like letters and like shit like this that are like clues and stuff that you read. The only thing is, this makes it impossible to read if you're not sitting at a table flat, and like that's fucking irritating. But here, this is what the pages look like. Right? It looks like that. Like, you read the margins. I found out very quickly I could not do this. Like, I found out very quickly that this was going to take me a while, because it took me like twice as long to read every page, because you'd have to go down and read the actual passage of The Ship of Theseus, and then you have to read all the margins of the conversations. And it was confusing for me, because it was like a conversation between 2 different people, but sometimes like the passages weren't like in order. Like, there'd be lines like indicating where, so you'd be like, okay, where do I start reading actual margins? Do I start on the side right where the line of text is? Do I start above it in that empty space? Loudest car, empty space. Like, it was a little bit confusing, and also sometimes they have two different handwritings. One of them writes in cursive, the other one writes in just print. And they would use different pen colors to show the passages of time. Like, if it was in a purple, if it was like cursive and purple, that would be like, it would mean there was like a little bit ahead where they went back and reread it and re-edited it. It was kind of weird and confusing, where like I didn't catch on until later. What's that noise? It's my dad. But yeah, it was like confusing. I was like, I don't actually think I can do this. It like hurt my brain. I couldn't keep track of like all the suspects for who they think the author was. Okay, I have my water now. But yeah, overall, like, I knew getting into this, it was going to not be like an easy read. And yet I was still like, no, this will be fun, because like I would rather read a book that's a little bit more challenging than like a book that was fucking boring. But this book was like too much. It was like too much. And one of the things that pissed me off the most is that they leave like in the footnotes, there'd be like clues and like puzzles and what am I looking for? Codes and stuff that they would try to decipher. And so they would like kind of explain it to you, but like they also, I was under the impression, because I would be reading it and there would be like clues where I'm like, they haven't deciphered this, and I know they want the reader, me, to decipher it, and I can't do that right now. I'm at my work. I can't invest my time into this book fully. Like, they gave you this little thingy, what the fuck it's called? This little thingy that like detects codes and I don't know what the fuck it's called. And they put that in the book for the reader in specific to like follow along and do shit. And I was like, so I know there's a bunch of like codes and stuff probably hidden in the footnotes that they want the reader to discover. I don't want to go back and read that. Sorry I want things explicitly spelled out for me, because I am in the middle of my shift and I don't have time to like pull out a pad of paper and sit there and start, you know, decoding shit. So it was, although it was like kind of fun to read and cool, it was like also frustrating because it made me feel stupid. I hate that conclusion, but like me reading this book being like, I feel like a dumbass because I can't fully invest myself in this book, and it's making my brain hurt and it's making my eyes hurt. So I liked the book. I thought it was good. It was a cool concept of like merging of like the different, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking for, but like incorporating the reader in with the book, with the mystery, with these two college students who are trying to like decode it themselves, and like they have their own separate personal lives going on that they talk about in the margins, and they have like, it's this whole like society of writers that are allegedly in on this one author of the book who goes missing and stuff like that. So it's like cool, but like it's a lot to read, and it's the way it's organized pisses me off a little bit. Like it just, I don't know. And it was written in it was written by Doug Dorst and the filmmaker J.J. Abrams. I don't know if I can say that. I think it's Abrams. So it's like, this would make a really good show or a movie where it was easier to see everything laid out. But when I have to read it, I don't retain it because there's so much of it. There's so much of it within the letters, within the clues, within the footnotes, the margins, and in the actual text of the book. There's just so much content to consume that I can't pick apart what's important information and what isn't. And I know it's technically all important information, but it's like, I can't focus enough on it because there's so much going on at once. So I read it and I was kind of disappointed because it seemed like a really cool book and it was like fucking $50 or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, well, if it's a really good experience, it'll be worth it. And it wasn't. It was a really frustrating experience. So I only recommend it to people who have a lot of time on their hands and are able to sit down and read it. So yeah, I finished that book, I think at the beginning of summer or midsummer or something like that, sometime in July. And I was like, fuck. I was like, fuck, not picking up that book again. Like, I'm sure if I were to reread it in 10 years, I'd be fine, but I already know the ending, and the ending also kind of pissed me off because I knew how it was going to end before I read it. I knew they'd never figure out who the author was. Spoiler alert, but you learn pretty soon in the book, within the content, the subtle messaging, that it's about the journey, not the destination. So they were never going to reveal who the actual author was. Like, that's the whole point. So I knew they weren't going to do that, but like the way that it ended, I was kind of like, I was kind of like, okay, this was not only unsatisfying read, but it was also very frustrating and time consuming. So I finished that book and I was like, whatever. Then my coworker, she's so slay. She was a social worker for a few years. She worked for essentially what was DCF, and then she like works here now. And then her goal is like in 5 years, she wants to open up her own library and like apothecary. And she wants to go for her library science degree. And I was like, she's so slay. I'm so obsessed with her. But she lent me a book and she was like, do you like fantasy novels? And I was like, I don't know, because I haven't read anything. Like, I'm like, I stopped reading books for pleasure like in high school because like I was just only reading books assigned to me. And I was like, I'm kind of open to anything. I'm not really that much into like fantasy shit, because I was like I'm like, don't give me Lord of the Rings. I was like, do not give me Lord of the Rings. Do not give me Harry Potter books. Like, I was like, don't give me anything like that, please. But she gave me this other book, The Priory, I think I'm saying that right, Priory of the Orange Tree. It's a book about dragons. And I was like, I was a little hesitant. I saw the dragon on the cover and I went, and it was also a fat fucking book. It was thick. And she's like, don't worry, it's just the margins in the text that make it look that way. No, it was still a big book, but I was like, okay, whatever. It was like, you know, bigger than this. It was like up to here. It was big. I was like, okay, but I was like, I have nothing else to fucking do at work, and I hated reading that book. So I was like, sure. And it took me a while to get into, because the way that the book was set up, which they had a map at the beginning of the book. Amazing. But like each chapter would start either being the north, south, east, west, and stuff like that. And it was about these like characters that were all from different like sanctions in the world, different countries or something. And the world is kind of set up this split where it's like there's like fire dragons and water dragons, and then there's like people who worship the dragons and people who hate the dragons and hunt them. It was kind of set up like that, where like their religions and their like countries were kind of sorted by their attitudes toward the dragons. And it's funny because the entire world has different retellings of the exact same historical event. So it was interesting how their stories like intertwined, and then when they finally met, they had to like overcome their differences. I don't know, it was a fun read. It had like queens and kings and shit like that, and like mages. So if you're into that stuff, read it. And then also, I don't know how she clocked it, but there was there was also some LGBT stuff in there. I was like, how the fuck did she know? Like, how did she know? But so we fucking love you, coworker's name. But yeah, so I enjoyed reading that book, actually. I was like, no, this is actually kind of fun, and I would kind of eat this up. And I don't think it's a part of the series yet, but it's the same author that made the Bone series. Her name is like Shannon something. I didn't read the Bone series, never fucking heard of it. Like I said, I'm like, I think I explicitly told her, I said, don't recommend me anything on Book Talk. I was like, if it's fucking Colleen Hoover, do not recommend it to me. I'm gonna stop talking to you. But yeah, I read that and I was like, okay, so if there was a sequel, I don't know if I'd quite read it because I'm not really into reading another fucking big book. But if it were to be made into like a Netflix series where something where my stupid lizard brain could just sit in front of and like not think, maybe I'd be into it, because the first few chapters were kind of hard because everybody has like these fantasy names that I can't pronounce in my head, so I have to like butcher the pronunciation. But I didn't realize, but in the back of the book she had like a glossary of like their names and like who they were, so that you could keep track of the different characters, because it also like had like mythology from each of the different countries in there. So like she would have mythical creatures in their like descriptions in there, and I'd be like, oh, like the urban legends and stuff like that. So that would have helped me. Like, I could just refer back to that if I forgot who the fuck they're talking about. But I didn't know that because I'm dumb. I just didn't think to look at the back of the book for that. But yeah, so I liked it. Took a few chapters to really get into it. At first I was like, this is kind of a lot. I kind of don't give a fuck. Who is this? But then I was like, okay. And they're kissing. And it wasn't like romance heavy, which I did specifically ask her. I said, don't give me anything where the romance is the plot. I don't fucking care. I was like, I'm gonna be so honest, I don't care. And I think that's where she got the idea that I was not into heterosexual romance novels, because I told her that. But, because then she's like, I'll give you lesbian sex. And I said, okay. I said, thank you. So yeah, that book was good. I recommend that if you're into like fantasy stuff. And then, so I finished that book, and then my mom gave me a book just to read, and I don't know why my mom did this, but my mom watches a show called Firefly Lane. And so that author, she's an author, yes. So she wrote Firefly Lane. It's now like on Netflix or something, or Prime, I don't know. But she also wrote a book called Night Road. My mom read it, and she's like, it's so good, I cried. And I was like, okay. And so she gave it to me. So I read it, and I finished reading it literally yesterday. And yes, it was sad. Yes, I cried at work and had to stop reading it. But it's just about this, like, you can tell it's written for, like, middle-aged parents, like moms and specifically. But it's about this mom of twins who's a helicopter parent, and then her daughter, like, gets a best friend who ends up dating their son, and then whatever, I don't know, but they're like the three amigos, and then they fucking drunk drive, and like the daughter fucking dies and stuff like that. And like, I don't know, it's like it shows like the grief and like the depression the mom goes through, and also her resentment for the girl now, and like the girl like ends up going to prison. So you know, it's this whole thing. It was a good book, but like, I was like, oh. I was reading it, I was like, why am I fucking sad? I was like, this kind of, this is like bringing back like thoughts of like me losing my own friend. It's like, great, awesome, thank you. I'm in the middle of work right now. So it wasn't a bad book, but it wasn't anything like exemplary. All right, and then so now that I finished that, I have another book on my to be read list. How High We Go in the Dark. I saw this book recommended to me on an Instagram reel. Don't laugh at me. I still don't have TikTok. I'm not getting it. I say that like it's like that's something to brag about, but really it's just at this point it's because I've missed the train. I've missed the train. If I were to download TikTok in 2023, I'd be the fool. So, anyways, so I got this book because apparently it's very good, and it's like set in the future and stuff like that, and there's a bunch of different like stories. It's like apocalyptic, kind of, not, I don't want to say like apocalyptic, but it's like where we're heading, of like the planet burning up and stuff like that. So I don't know, it's supposed to be good, so I get it. I haven't read it, I haven't started reading it yet. It seems like kind of an easy, I don't want to say easy read, but like look how like small it is compared to like the other books I read that were all big and fat. This kind of seems like I'm going to finish it very soon, like very quickly. And if it's good enough, sorry, this is so off topic, but like I can't stand looking at this book because it was not cut properly. It wasn't aligned properly, and it wasn't cut properly. But like, you can hardly see it, but you see how the cover doesn't fully cover the pages. It makes me want to tear this book up, and the only reason I haven't is because I paid for it, and this was the only copy that they had at Barnes & Noble's. Actually, they had another one, but the corner was bent, and that's why I didn't pick that one, because it was all gross. So I was like, no, I guess I'll go with this one. But also, you can see the letters get cut off here for dark. I was like, who made this? Who made this one? Who made this? Pisses me off, and it's gonna bother me, but like the quicker I get it done, the quicker I don't have to look at it anymore. But yeah, so I'm excited to read this. I don't know, I feel like it's gonna be cool. I like the cover. That's it for me talking about the books I want to read, the books I'm going to read. I don't know, I'm excited to get back into reading, I guess. I kind of don't have any shelf space because I have like my weird K-pop addiction still, where I still collect albums. I've gotten a few albums recently. Let me go get those. I'll show you how those look, and I'm gonna judge their graphic design choices because we need to discuss. If you noticed, I have my wall like actually decorated now. Remember like 6 months ago when I was complaining about my wall being fucking empty? Well, now it's not, because I got the posters I wanted to, and I have it nice and decorated. Smiles! I'm seeing aespa next week with Meg. Everybody smile. So I had to get their album, which I wanted to get anyways, first of all, but for anyone says it, but I've always like been like hesitant to get their albums because very particular in who I pull for a PC, if you know what I mean. But I got Ning Ning in this one. She needs to get in the back of my phone case. I should probably redecorate that today. But anyways, I got this. I wanted this version because I liked this concept the most. Well, I shouldn't say the most, but like, no, I do. I do like this concept the most. I know it's like boring, who cares, simpleton, boo. But I liked My World. Amazing song. People who think it's boring need to die. Welcome to My World is a good song. Fuck you guys. Sorry, like orchestral music. Anyways, they use this like kind of font. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but like the CD, like they use this font that like looks like balloons, like balloon graffiti, because that was like what they had, this like visualizer graphic where it like inflated. I can't describe it. If you've seen the GIF, you've seen it. But so My World is written in that cool font. I'm obsessed with it. This book is like, it's okay. Like I said, like this concept was kind of like simpleton, kind of boring. Like they're just sitting, they're just girls. And it's like stapled together in a way that it sits like this on the shelf. It has that like gap in it. So it's very awkward and uncomfortable. So I'm like, this is kind of terrible, but whatever. But it was either this or the other one that they had at Target, or it wasn't Target, I think it was at Walmart, was the giant magazine ones. And I fucking hate magazine sized fucking albums. Stop doing that. Stop it. Stop doing the thin ones, because you can't ever fit it in a shelf without it like bending, and it like wears on the pages. And stop it. Stop it. Stop it. No more magazine styled album packaging. Cut that shit out. Stop it. But you know what's worse than magazine styled? Spineless. This is atrocious. I want to actually kill whoever designed Unlock My World album. From his first full album, Unlock My World, and this is the fucking spine. Are you joking? Are you joking? I bought this in stores, and I am convinced that if I were to order it online and have it delivered, I would think I got like a misprint or like a damaged one, because you're telling me this is the official album packaging. You need to die. Sorry. Like, you need to actually die. And it has this like weird flap thing on it. Like, I don't know why. I don't know who designed this, but they need to be punished. It has like the track list inside. That's like, I don't know why you did this. What was the point of this? What was the actual point of this? Of like, it's like cardboard too. I don't think you can tell, but like, it's like hard cardboard covered, but it doesn't have a spine. And the paper inside, like, kind of feel like they could be ripped out easily or fall out easily. I don't know. The photo book eats though. Like, it's so good. It's good. It's just, I fucking hate whoever designed the packaging for this. Like, you're gonna go to hell. You're gonna go to hell. But yeah, it was a fun concept. I loved Unlock My World. Amazing album. Amazing concept like photography and stuff like that. But the actual fucking design of the album, you're going to hell. You're going to hell. Pissed. Oh my god. You telling me I'm gonna get two more of these fucking albums that'll look like this? to complete my collection. Die, go to hell. You need to die and go to hell. Anyways, but most recently, I got this at FYE. Oh my god, it's so cute. So this was for Red Velvet's birthday album. So they had these special albums that were looks like cakes with the members' colors. They are so fucking smart. They literally are geniuses. So it came in this box, and of course I unboxed it, but this is like, it came with it inside, and the candle is the little logo. I fucking love the graphic design for this. Oh my god, like it was so good. The little like cartoon cat, like oh my god, they ate. Anyways, so this is what the looks like. This is Yeri's version. She's the girl that's right there. Everyone say hi, Yeri. Her color's purple. So I got this one because purple, and I like purple. You gotta like kind of open it like that. But the graphic design for this album, immaculate. Immaculate. Look at the little lyric book. And see, these are all the different versions that you could have gotten for the album. And I have that one. Look at it. Look at it. Feast your eyes. Isn't that so cool? And then the actual photo book, instead of having like a book, they had like these circle CDs. These circle pictures instead that are double-sided. So it's like kind of unique packaging. Definitely takes up more space on my shelf than like an actual book, but I like it. I don't know, I've always liked Red Velvet's packaging because most of it's just like the graphic design of it is just nice. It's just excellent. Like even in the other version of this is a CD, by the way. He's a little guy. Even the actual just regular CD version of this, look at it. Look at it. Again, they came in different colors. So I got Sulky's version, but isn't this so fucking cool? Yeah, this is a little booklet. It's so cute. Oh my god, guys. It's just so excellent. It's just so good. It's just so excellent. Anyways, and I have this CD in my car, so that's why I don't have it, but it's just yellow. I love it. Anyways, so that's my most recent updates on my shelf. I want to get into vinyls again, but every single time I look for the vinyls that I want, they don't have them. So I need to order them online, and that pisses me off because I forget and then I don't do it. I'm back. I'm still in my churches phase. My Spotify Wrapped is going to be literally atrocious because it's just going to be 2 British artists and then the rest of it's going to be K-pop. It's just going to be churches and it's going to be Purity Ring. I don't know who else is going to be there, but a bunch of gay people and then like churches. Like, okay. Yeah, they never have the Bones of What We Believe in any vinyl store. So I have to like actually like go online and order the shit that I want. I'm like, oh man, come on. But I still also need a record player, but my parents agreed that they'd probably get one for the family and put it in the family room so they could store all my records down there so I wouldn't have to get another bookshelf. Because right now all my records are sitting in a bin over there, in this little like cloth bin, except for one of them who's up there. Alt J. Anyways, so yeah, my criteria for buying vinyls is I have to love the album. Like, love the album. And I realized, I'm like, actually, I think this churches phase isn't a phase, and I'm fucking obsessed with this album. Let me get, hold on. All right, sorry, I had to lean over and get this, but this is my, I'm gonna mispronounce it because I've been flamed before about how I pronounce it. Bon Iver? I used to say Bon Iver until somebody corrected me in person, and I was like, oh, kill yourself. I didn't say that to them, but I was literally like, you're gonna die in 3 days. Whenever somebody corrects me on how I say something that I've been saying for years, it fills me with rage. I cannot describe it. Anyway, so however the fuck you pronounce his name, Justin. His name is Justin. This is one of my favorite, like, graphic design albums. I can't get into it. I made a whole thread about, like, vinyls that I like on Twitter and stuff like that. I don't want people to follow my Twitter because I only talk about K-pop there, except for the occasional random tweet about other music I listen to. But I kind of want to make a full video about, like, album designs that I like, because this one's one of my favorites, because all these little symbols have, like, different meanings and they relate to the songs and the lyrics. And, like, this is one of the best, like, designed albums ever, and people don't get it. They don't get it the way that I do. So I just want to talk about it so bad. There's, like, so much work that was put into the design of this actual album with the artist and with the band. It used a lot of, like, numerology and symbolism, and it had its own, like, guide, and, like, it gave you, like, a little guidebook to it to, like, decode it. It was so fucking insane, and, like, I can't describe it, but, like, I don't know, like, the way that this album was set up, I can't describe it. You have to, like, look into it. Please Google 22 a Million Bon Iver album symbolism or something. Google it and read into it, because I can't describe it. It's so fucking excellent. But yes, crazy shit like this. It was just, like, a good mash of, like, between music and typography and album design, like, the way it all came together. Man, I love art. I love art and I love music. Anyway, so this is one of my favorite designed albums. And probably one of his, like, best works, in my opinion. And, like, so now I've gotten, like, crazy, where now I'm like, I kind of need, like, different versions of the vinyl now. The sleeve is purple. Exactly. Are we noticing a pattern here? So yeah. Anyways, so that was me talking. Is there another paper in here? Ooh, free digital download. I forget that they did this. Does this expire? I might try that. Alright, so I've talked for long enough about things that make me happy, so I feel better now. So yes, thank you if you watched to the end, and sorry that I have ghosted everybody. I will try not to do that again. It will happen again. But until next time, stay safe and stay happy and drink water. Alright, I'm gonna go to Wright's Dairy Farm with my mom.